You're listening to Real Crime, the Movie Sleuth podcast.
From the icy cold mountains of St. Clair Shores, Michigan.
Episode 103.
This is Real Crime.
We are so happy to be here.
What is this? And yes, I'm back. It's been a while. Well, no, okay, so we talked about this a couple days ago. So there was really only one show done. And we've been it's been a lot
Since Halloween, things kind of just...
a lot of craziness going on.
Yeah.
So I haven't been here in a while, but there's only been one show, two shows?
Yeah, I think we just did the one show. We did the Halloween one, and then last week we did the Dark Themes and Animation one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I wasn't going to be worth a shit on that, so that's why I'm like, I'll exit this gracefully.
This end of year thing, this is when things get all kind of janky.
It gets weird.
Yes,
but we're back on track here. I think we're doing
hopefully
stuff. We're working things out. We're here. We have a really interesting show tonight too. We kind of just whipped this one up last minute and thought we'd come together here and hang out and talk about some really interesting stuff. But we won't talk about that just yet.
Yes.
Because there's some other very pressing items, such as what, Chris?
First, we got to mention our sponsors, the Flint Institute of Arts, as usual.
Dude, yeah, and literally I bought space there. I'm moving there next week. The Flint Institute of Arts is fucking incredible.
Are you going to do art there?
I'm going to do art there.
Sweet.
Poop art.
Ooh.
Yes.
Smear it.
With my nose.
And blood.
Oh, God, why do we do that for? Anyways, moving
along. Also, projectorscreen.com.
Yes. If you've not signed up yet.
I actually talked to that guy the other day.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was just trying to do some business with them. And he's like, man, we are super slammed.
Good.
So they're doing really well over there.
Yeah.
And of course, our wonderful local friends, Sellerman's.
Yeah.
Yay.
They have a record swap going on there tonight.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, I would have been there tonight if we weren't doing the show. But yeah, Sellerman's got some really rad stuff going on. They got a lot of Christmas promotions going on. A lot of Christmas beers they're doing. Yeah, if you haven't been to Sellerman's in Hazel Park, you're a loser. There's just nothing else to say. You're just a horrible person. What's wrong with you?
She's looking at you like, I live with him.
Yeah. We should mention that I brought a friend tonight. Well, not a friend.
Well, more than a friend.
Yeah, more than a friend. Yeah. Say hi, Amber.
Hi.
Hi,
Amber.
Hi.
We'll get to you more later. Oh yeah, here, move the mic.
I'm gonna move the mic closer.
Get it closer. Yeah, get it.
So I got to eat the mic pretty much.
Well, yeah, arc it up. You can adjust
You're
it
good.
too. Oh my God! Yeah, let's do the. This should have all been done before we turned the recorder on.
But we were just so excited to be here.
Yes, we were.
We were so excited to be here.
So it's been a while too for this. You look good.
Thank you.
You look really good, Chris. I'm surprised. It's getting easier. I think.
I don't have to beat up anybody to get the news anymore.
Well, yeah, because
I just walk up to the back of the car and I'm like, "Yo, give me some news." And
yeah,
they're like, "Yeah, here's your news."
And and you got the stuff.
Yeah, I got the stuff.
I got the stuff, man.
So, first bit of news this week: John Cho is going to be starring in an episode of the new Twilight Zone reboot.
Really?
Yeah, they're really going out there with the casting on this. They're bringing a lot of movie people in for this show.
No kidding.
It's going to be on CBS All Access starting next year, and Jordan Peele is hosting it.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
For real?
So it could be pretty cool.
That will be really cool.
Yeah. So modern take on the Twilight Zone with good actors. And in other Rod Serling news, it was just announced tonight that Sci-Fi just purchased the rights to Night Gallery, and they're rebooting Night Gallery for Sci-Fi.
Oh, God.
So both Rod Serling's classic shows are coming back as
but
new
Sci-Fi.
series. Yeah.
That's a little scary.
They cancel everything. So.
I know, and it's just okay. Well, we'll have to time will tell.
Time will tell.
Yep.
Stallone. 2 weeks ago, Stallone came out and said that Creed 2 was his final outing as Rocky Balboa.
Yep.
And 2 days ago, he came out and announced that Rambo 5 Last Blood will be his final time as Rambo.
Dude needs to stop, man.
74 years old.
Come on. Anyway, he looks great. He looks fantastic.
He does.
All respect to the guy. Those are two iconic roles, as we know. And, it gets to a point, I can't keep doing this. You just hear it.
Yeah, but to be in your 70s and still be pulling off an action hero role, that's pretty good.
Oh, it's awesome.
It is.
Yeah, all respect to the guy. Yeah, totally.
He's kind of got a plastic face, but he's still pretty built.
He's huge.
Yeah, he's still got muscle.
Yeah, he's built.
Like, they showed this video on Instagram of him training for Rambo, and he's like working with like a 250-pound medicine ball.
My God.
And like, I mean, he's like stacked.
Yeah.
He's stacked. So
good for him.
Yep. In other reboot news this week, the director Johannes Roberts, that directed 47 Meters Down, is going to be directing the reboot to Resident Evil. Been 2 years since the final one. They're already
recycling this shit.
They're already recycling it. Supposedly, they're going to be going a little bit closer to the video game.
Well, that'd be cool.
So, because those movies, I don't know if you guys saw.
Because that's one of the video games I actually played.
Yeah.
So I can appreciate that.
Yeah. The movies, the first one was a little truer to the video games, but after that, it just went off the wall. So, yeah. In other news, everybody knows by now that Daredevil was canceled at Netflix. They know that The Punisher will probably be canceled next, and of course, Jessica Jones. And Disney Plus has basically come out and said they have no interest in bringing those characters on.
Yeah.
So this might be the end of all of those Marvel characters in the streaming format for a very long time.
That's a bummer.
But Netflix still owns the rights to them. They just don't want to do them as series anymore.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
It's weird.
It's really weird. I guess Luke Cage and Iron Fist didn't really do that well as far as ratings go. So that's our news for the week. Do we have suggested viewings?
You know, I was thinking about that as you were doing news. You know, and Amber, is there anything you watch? Because you're pretty okay.
No.
Okay.
I don't think you want my.
Yes,
what
we
stuff
do.
I've been watching.
No, you know what? Yes, we do. Go ahead.
Oh God.
Go ahead.
So my cousin and I decided to kind of watch every cheesy Christmas movie we could find on Netflix.
Hell yes.
Mostly cheesy romance. So we've been
That's why I've been hiding in the back of the house.
Yeah. Well, you've been gone most of the time. I've been watching those, and
exactly.
it's some of them are cute. Some of them are a complete waste of my time.
Well, which ones?
You know, because I was not prepped for this. I can't think of necessarily things. Well, I did watch the Kurt Russell Christmas movie.
It's great.
Okay, it was.
I haven't seen it. I'm going to watch.
I started watching it, which was Christmas Chronicles, and I'm like, okay, it's Kurt Russell. I love Kurt Russell, and there's a scene that involves prostitutes. The guy from The Sopranos.
Yep.
What's his name?
Which one?
He's the guitarist in Bruce Springsteen's band.
Steve Van Zandt.
Yeah,
Steve Van Zandt.
Little Steven.
And
Little
a jail
Steven.
scene and breaking out in song that kind of made it worth the whole movie. Mm-hmm. And the end. I won't ruin the end.
Yeah.
The end
don't
has a
spoil
little
it.
surprise that is cute.
There were a couple little things in there that reminded me of Elf. You know, some of the sleigh stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we watched it on Thanksgiving, and it was good. It was a good, wholesome family movie.
Yeah. I mean,
other than the hookers.
Yeah.
It's got to be edgy somehow. It's Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
I watched a movie 3 days ago that actually completely blew me away, and I wasn't expecting it to. It's called Galveston. It stars Ben Foster, who we know is an outstanding actor, and also has Ellie Fanning in it, who is usually pretty damn great too. It's a little bit of a retelling of Terrence Malick's Badlands, because it's basically these two people like trying to escape their lifestyle as criminals, going off on their own. It just devolves into this really slow-paced heist type crime thriller, and the acting is just phenomenal in it, and it's dark as hell. And you didn't think it was going to go as dark as it goes, and it just keeps going further down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is pretty ballsy. And the crazy thing is, it was actually directed, I can't remember her name right now, my apologies, but the woman that played Shoshana in Inglourious Bastards,
I liked her.
Oh, yeah.
she directed this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the sad thing is, it just got a very small indie release, and now it's coming to Blu-ray.
All right.
But if you like crime dramas or thrillers that are more about character, definite suggested viewing.
Oh, cool.
Ben Foster blew me away in this movie.
I better watch how I phrase this. I had the pleasure of taking Amber to a movie over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And what was it?
The second Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that? What was the name of it?
Fantastic Beasts. Oh, well, Crimes of Grindelwald.
Now this is like in the
It's pre-Harry Potter.
universe of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Prequel-ish.
Which immediately pulls me right out of that stuff, but Amber wanted to see it, so we went and saw that. And I have to say, without any type of spoilers, of course, it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. The special effects, of course, were fantastic. It looked really cool. I mean, honestly, I couldn't really get into the story that much. I mean, even though I understood what was happening.
First one.
Johnny Depp was cool. I loved the way Johnny
I've heard
Depp.
really good things about him, but
yeah.
there was a huge backlash about him playing that character because of the supposed abuse stuff between him and Amber Heard.
Yeah.
When he was cast in that role, people kind of melted down.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I didn't even think about that.
Well, now they've already forgotten about it. So
yeah. But no, it was a fun movie. I enjoyed watching it. If that's your thing, go see it. You're gonna really dig it. It's cool. The special effects, as I said, and the monsters and
the creatures, especially in the first one. It's all about the creatures.
Yeah, it's really clever. I really enjoyed watching it. It was fun. So yeah, good Saturday afternoon matinee flick to go check out.
Cool. I've heard mixed things on it.
Yeah.
I like the first one better. Just because it had a weird blend of fun, the awesome creatures, like I said, and then you had it was dark. And this one is dark too, but I don't know. I kind of like him because there's no book really. So you can't compare it to anything like you could when you were watching Harry Potter.
Right. Yeah. Right. Talking about Harry Potter, Alicia got me the Steelbook set last year for Christmas with all of the movies in it.
Yeah.
So we decided.
What are you, 12?
Yeah. Well, I've never seen them all. So we decided this Christmas, when I'm off work, the entire family is going to watch all of those.
Oh, that's cool.
And then after we're done with those, we're watching all of the Lord of the Rings movies and then all the Hobbit movies.
That's a great project for the holidays.
It is. It's going to be fun.
I did that. I don't know if I mentioned that. And maybe before I was on this, I came on this podcast, but it was 2 years. No. That was like 5. It was well before that. Like 5 years ago, I was, so usually about the last 2 or 3 weeks of the year, I'm off. And this one year I decided for the holidays or just with my time off, I watched the entire original series Star Trek, entire Next Generation, and entire Deep Space Nine, all the way through.
Holy shit.
It was insanity, dude. But it was awesome. I had a ride. I tried getting into, we've talked about this before on the show. I tried cutting into Voyager. I got about 10 episodes in. I'm like, I give up. I can't. I don't like it as much, So that's one of the projects I did a long time ago. So those are always fun. When you get the time, you can binge watch like that. That's super cool. Totally fun to do.
Yeah, because I know we're going to be slow. I already see it coming.
Yeah.
But
so
I'm just going to enjoy it.
What are we going to talk about tonight? Because we whipped this up like
this was,
fast.
Tonight we're going to talk about movies that feature the topic or characters of angels.
Angels, yeah. And I think diving into this and, trying to, like getting my notes together and whatnot, I was kind of going, okay, some of the, how do you do this? Because, there's plenty of movies that are about angels.
Yes.
Like comedies or whatever they are, or, more darker films. And there's some films that have angels in them. Like they're part of their character in the story.
Yeah, and sometimes they're just a background thing.
They're a background thing, right? So I'm like, at least to myself, I'm like, well, I'll keep this open, like not try to lock it into one thing, right? So I got this massive list, and I know you have a list. And Amber, I think Amber was studying too. I told Amber you're going to be on the show. She's like, okay, can I watch this? So she comes home last night with a pile of DVDs.
Hell yeah.
From the library going, well, are these good? I'm like, yeah, that's the ones I
knew there was a reason I liked her so much.
Like, there's a real.
When you work at a library.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
It's so easy to get whatever you
want. She got all the ones.
Give me that job.
She got all the ones that I didn't want to watch or I couldn't get to. So I think this may balance out pretty good. So I guess let's just start the baton with you, Chris. Like what'd you get? What comes to mind? I guess.
Well, considering my oldest daughter got her name from this movie, the first one I would mention is Dogma.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
Bethany?
forgot about that even being an angel movie.
Oh, no,
That's
that
great.
is the angel
That
movie.
is the angel movie.
Yeah.
You know, obviously there's all the religious context to the film, but the characters and the villains and everything they throw in this movie is so great in a way that only Kevin Smith could do it. But Affleck and Matt Damon have that.
Bartleby and Loki.
They have that thing, that chemistry between the two of them in that movie that's awesome. They play off each other perfectly.
Yeah.
And it's like the angel movie.
That, you know, we did the Kevin Smith episode not too long ago. So, of course, Dogma come up in there. But I'm glad it had to be mentioned here. And, of course, it's on my list, too. That movie, I think, was the movie when I saw it the first time that sent me down a rabbit hole of studying angels. Like actually doing like reading and stuff on the archangels and the hierarchy of angels. You know, and, you know, I know this is going to be kind of a weird topic, too, and I want to try to keep it just kind of flat and vanilla and neutral.
Yeah, but
this movie really got me interested into that subject in and of itself outside of film.
Well,
right?
because there's this, like, biblical mythology behind the characters that actually, you know, I'm not into the Bible at all.
Yeah.
But this made me kind of interested in
totally. That's
the
same
Bible
idea.
as fiction, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Would that be the right term for it? Yeah. You know, some people don't think it is, and that's fine. But like that made me interested in the actual
the story
arc of it and these characters. There was a lot of shit around this movie when it came out.
Death threats.
Yes, people were mad about Dogma because it made a satire out of a lot of the Bible.
Well, the Catholic Church especially.
Yeah.
Right. Now, here's the thing with that.
Buddy Jesus,
George Carlin at his finest.
I have that on a T-shirt.
What I find really, really funny about Dogma is, and I remember that vividly, like all the death threats Kevin Smith was receiving, all the shit he was taking because of his movie. And I'm like, these people who are so up in arms about this, maybe, did they ever watch the movie? First off, because I left that movie feeling pretty good. Like I left that movie feeling like, you know, it was a great comedy. It was a great story. It had great characters. And, you know, it made me think about things, though, too. Because, you know, again, I'm trying to keep it off the slant of religion. But one of the points that the apostle, which was played by Chris Rock, he kept talking about this idea of, you know, what God was and what religion was. And he's like, you know, do you understand it? You know, and the whole idea I think Kevin was trying to tell people about, because obviously Kevin Smith's a very religious person, right? His whole point of that movie when it comes to religion was, do you really understand, you know, what this thing's about? Or do you just jump through the hoops? You know, are you talking the talk, or are you walking the walk? That idea, right? So I left. The first time I saw that movie, I was excited. Not because I went and found God or went to church, but I'm like, I really was exposed to some really cool ideas here, I think. And that's what I got. And hearing how much people hated that movie and death threats, as we've said, I'm like, you guys didn't watch the movie.
No.
There's no there's satire. Yeah, there's comedy. There's some jabs and there's some pokes. But if you take it as a whole, it was a beautiful piece of art. It was a really cool flick, man.
I think people are too anal retentive about this stuff.
Well, it's really...
You have
they
to be
get
able...
too sensitive.
Yeah.
You have to find the humor in everything.
Yeah.
And that's what Kevin Smith does. He finds the humor in everything.
Yeah. That's why we've done whole shows on the guy here. And we love Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
What I love the most about Dogma is what you said, Chris. And I want to go down this rabbit hole for a second. I love... You have these massive characters. Angels... Lucifer, the Metatron, played by, oh my God, my brain's falling apart. But, you know, you have these massive characters that are a part of biblical history, you know, that have these massive stories behind them. The angel of death, you know, played by Matt Damon, Loki, right? He's the angel of death, which the term itself kind of gives you the chills, right? And you watch these characters interact in this world that Kevin Smith has created. And they're just goofing with each other, talking shit to each other. Dude, quit looking at me like that. It looks like we just broke up or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like they're very real people in a situation. Oh, look, the Muse, Salma Hayek. You know, oh my God, are those real? You know, I mean, all these like goofy things, which is a comedy. But I loved how Kevin just kind of spun that web of all these amazing characters that had all these imperfections. Yeah. These are supposed to be angels, but they're not perfect, obviously.
Right.
You know, so, I mean, yeah, Dogma really, I mean, we really knocked it out of the ballpark with starting with that. It's going to be really hard to keep up because that movie's just shit.
I think there's some other ones in here that
well, to me there is.
Equivalent to this, though. But this one kind of just captured the essence
so
of...
awesome. Such an awesome movie, dude. What about you, Amber?
So I have a handful of movies that I probably should have watched a long time ago. Like, I haven't seen most of John Hughes movies, so I should probably just get up and leave right now.
No, you're all right.
But I decided to watch It's a Wonderful Life because I've never seen it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I know.
Wow.
I know. So when I heard the line, every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings, I was like, oh, no shit, that's where that's from. And honestly, I enjoyed it. I thought it was well done. When you watch those movies that are older, sometimes you're like, oh, God, this is like the acting. Oh, my God, this is bad. But this was good. I liked it. I was actually laughing sometimes. And
that movie kind of transcends time.
Oh, it's a classic.
Yeah, it didn't feel ancient. I mean, it's set already in the past a little bit when it starts from when it was made anyway. Yeah,
but like even like Jimmy Stewart's character is a pretty like modern guy in that movie. Like you can totally see that character now.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that character now with social media? Oh. Holy Oh, bad. He'd be really depressed.
Oh yeah, totally. What else you got?
I watched Always.
I've never seen Always.
No.
Okay, I hadn't seen it either.
That's Steven Spielberg, right?
Yep. Okay. So when I saw it with Spielberg, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And I had some of my coworkers saw my stack of DVDs, and they're like, oh, that's a great movie. I love it. And I had to stop it. And then that's when I put on It's a Wonderful Life. And then I went back. And it was hard. Because I think it was from that era of like, I don't know, everybody looked cheesy to me. Holly Hunter, is that her name? Holly Hunter had like this full-on giant mullet.
Yep.
I've never cared for Richard Dreyfuss. He's always irritated me a little bit. And so I was kind of fast-forwarding through the movie. And then I'm like, I guess he's an angel, but he's kind of a dead guy.
Yeah, he
just
is
sort
kind
of
of
looking
a dead
out.
guy.
So when it came up on a list of like angel movies, I'm like, yeah, he's kind of a ghost. I don't know if I'd say he's an angel. I mean, he's looking out.
Yeah, I think that's where the angel portion comes from. He's kind of looking out for her in that movie.
Well, that's as I said, that this subject is there's plenty of movies to talk about, but it's kind of a weird one because it's like sometimes the interpretation for some of these things, it's like, is that really an angel, right? And I have another example of that on my list here that we'll discuss later on. Michael. I had never seen Michael until this past weekend.
That's the one with Travolta,
John Travolta.
Okay,
right?
okay.
It's a comedy, right? Very lighthearted, very much, it's a chick flick. Let's just fucking say it. It's a total chick flick. Very, very lighthearted, very fun. It's 3 years after, that was 1996. So that was like 3 or 4 years after Pulp Fiction came out. So Travolta's like kind of on his ascent again, as an actor.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the previews for this when it came out, and I know why I'm like, fuck this movie, because just watching him walk around with his man boobs and his wings on him and stuff like that, I'm like, this is just too ridiculous of a premise. But
yes,
watching it over the weekend, it was a fun watch. Will I ever watch it again? Probably not. I mean, but it wasn't a bad film. It was a lot of fun to watch. Great story, but the art kind of got to me a little bit because it's like, all this crazy shit's going on, but the whole idea is I came here to make sure you'd fall in love again. Or some shit, and I'm like, dude.
I'm just picturing him walking around with his shirt off, his wings
cigarette.
going, Mr. Carter, Mr. Carter. I mean, it's a new movie. It's called Look Who's Talking. It's so weird.
They just
the baby, it talks. It's so weird, Mr. Carter.
Jesus Christ. It was a pretty thin script, in my opinion. But like I said, I enjoyed myself, but it kind of. It's a flimsy story. Let's just leave it at that. But it did. I like the angel type stories though. So it was interesting to see. Yeah, interesting to see John. I can't fucking talk tonight. John Travolta. In a role like that. So I enjoyed it for a watch. What about you, Chris? What else you got?
I've got a couple, and I think I know one that you were going to mention, but I'm just going to
go ahead. I don't care.
Go out there and Frailty.
Oh, no, you didn't watch that.
You say I've seen it before. Matthew McConaughey. Yeah, okay. I saw it a long time ago. Yeah.
With Bill Pullman.
Yeah.
Or no, Bill
Bill
Paxton.
Bill Paxton.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're right.
Everybody does it every once in a while. But yeah, that movie, they were supposed to be angels destroying demons.
Yeah.
And it's just so goddamn dark. A lot of people hate
it's a crazy
this movie.
Yeah.
It is a crazy movie. It's one of those where you just think it's going to be like this weird, silly serial killer thing, and then it becomes like religious.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are killing the demons. We are slaying the demons out in our shed in the backyard,
I thought
you have to do the righteous thing and kill the demons.
I thought we talked about that film a long time ago. Like
a long time ago.
On one of them disturbing
I think
shows we put that made one of our lists for like one of the more disturbing films that was ever made. And Matthew McConaughey looks like a freaking maniac in that movie.
Yes, he does.
It's a real testament to his range, I think. As an actor, I love Matthew McConaughey. I think he's done everything out there, and that's one of those real cool testaments to how he can play a complete maniac. And what's that other movie? Not to go too far off the script, but you turned me on to this flick with Matthew McConaughey, where he plays that assassin. What the hell was the name of that movie?
Killer Joe.
Killer Joe. Yeah, he's a freaking nut in that movie.
Yeah,
he's cool as hell in that flick.
That movie's brutal though.
Yeah,
it's a hard watch.
Flick. It's a tough watch. That has Josh Brolin too.
Yes.
I think that's what really pulled me in was with that. But, that's another not related but related Matthew McConaughey thing. Really cool flick to watch, Killer Joe. All right. What else?
There's so many of them.
Well, okay. Well, here, Amber, you want to?
Well, speaking of McConaughey, I watched Angels in the Outfield. I couldn't believe how many young actors were in that movie. Like, there's a young...
Oh, it's a massive cast.
Oh, my God. There's a young Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
And somehow his nose isn't as big as it is now. Like, he's got to be 16. I don't know.
He took no steroids.
I swear he did, because I had to look. I'm like, is that 80? I got to look that up and see if that's him. His nose doesn't look right. And I hadn't seen that movie probably since 9th grade.
I didn't give a shit about that movie.
But it was cute. You had not Samuel L. Jackson. Who's the other guy? He was with in Lethal Weapon.
Danny Glover.
Yeah, Danny Glover and Gordon Hewitt, whatever his name is. I can't remember.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yes, thank you. And but it was cute, except for I was upset at the end.
I'm fucking on fire tonight.
You are. A movie like that should leave you uplifted, but for some reason I hyper focused on the fact that Tony Danza's character had cancer and didn't know it was going to die in 6 months, but he was going to be okay according to Christopher Lloyd. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so sad. I should quit smoking. Oh my God, I could be like Tony Danza on Angels in the Outfield.
You don't want to be Tony Danza.
Yeah.
He's not the boss.
What about Constantine?
Yeah.
That's a fun flick.
It is.
There's another one I watched for the first time this weekend. I had not seen it. It was one of the... Him.
Yeah.
Why is my brain stopped?
His acting can be help. His acting can be a little
Who the fuck are we talking about? I can't remember.
Keanu Reeves.
Thank you very much. What am I doing here tonight?
Keanu Reeves is a weird actor because I've never thought that he was that great. Like, he's really stiff.
He's stoic.
Yeah.
I love The Devil's Advocate.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't with him, but he's made it this far, so.
I think with him, it just depends on the material.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If he's doing Bill and Ted's,
I'm waiting for 3.
Well, that's her house.
Oh, I'm
right
waiting
there.
for 3. I've been waiting forever.
If he's doing John Wick, it works, but there are certain roles that he just doesn't like. He doesn't have that chameleon effect that so many actors do.
Yeah.
He's always kind of Keanu.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Tilda Swinton plays Michael, Gabriel, thank you. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Gabriel, the Archangel, in that movie, which I thought was a really, as far as getting into the depth of like the angel in that movie, Tilda has this role where she's playing Gabriel, which typically has been represented as a male in biblical history. But I like how because see, that's one of the things I want to point out with some of these, and we'll get into this, some of this in the other movies, is some of the rules that you find angels are bound by and this is all in
they bend the rules.
They've been well. I mean, it's just a creative thing for whoever's writing, the writers and whatnot. But I found Gabriel in Constantine, obviously being played by Tilda Swinton, who's a female, having and being made up to be very non-gender.
Yes.
Or non-binary. Sorry, non-binary.
Non-binary.
And I thought that whole trip was kind of cool with that character in Constantine.
Well, she's the perfect actress for that too.
Yeah,
because she looks just.
She's got a very unique
ways.
look.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Suspiria yet?
The new one?
Yeah.
No.
Because she plays 3 different characters in that one.
That may, because I really that's one of those movies like, no, I don't give a fuck about the reboot of this thing. I'm not going near it. But not paying attention to it, hearing that, now I'm like, oh, well, Tilda's
it's a very beautiful film. I did not like it as much as the original.
You shouldn't.
But I will say it's a must-see.
Yeah.
Because the ending is crazy, and the soundtrack by Tom York from Radiohead is pretty out there and beautiful. So I say see it.
Yeah, Tilda. Like you said, Amber, that was a really great role for her to play, Gabriel. And I just like the fact that they kind of made the character just like, again, non-binary, like very, what you may picture an angel. I mean, there's pictures that come to mind, I think, for everybody when they think of the term angel or angels, and I really think they nailed. Now, and this is one of those ones where, this is a very religiously based type film, right? I mean, kind of. It's got those ideas.
A little background to it.
Yeah, exorcism, things like that. Lucifer shows up. You have these players again. So yeah, it's that's a more of an action type film though too, right? We really haven't gotten into that element of like these angel type or films with angels. I think this may be the first one we've mentioned that really is an action type film. Dogma is more of a comedy. Michael was a chick flick.
I like the chick flick.
Angels in the Outfield was a freaking kids movie. This is the first one we've mentioned where this was more of a action borderline horror film. I'd say there's horror elements in Constantine.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Cool flick though.
And it's a comic book movie too.
Yeah, it's based on a comic book. Yeah. It's a cool flick. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
And plus from what you're saying, like the angel subject matter is kind of like bleeding into every genre. Horror, comic book, comedy, kids movie.
Yeah, they show up everywhere.
It's something that can be put into any context of a film.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
And it makes to me, it makes it interesting. I mean, I guess the idea, and we've seen this happen with a lot of films where you have a biblical character show up somewhere. Like you were watching Meet Joe Black, which I'm sure we'll mention that in depth. We can get into that if you want. You have this, and this will be mentioned more in some of these other films, as I mentioned too. Like you have these beings that are eons old.
Right.
They have knowledge that spans over thousands, if not millions of years. And this is like, in Meet Joe Black, you have this, obviously the angel of death who is just trying to experience what life is like. Much like Michael, like John Travolta's character, Michael. I mean, that was his thing. He's like, I just want to go on an adventure.
Mr. Carter.
I just want, but he's like, let's mention that. I want to go back to Michael for a second. He's like, I just want to go on an adventure. I want to live life like you people live. I'm an angel. I'm bound by different rules, but I'm in a skin suit now, so I want to experience life.
Sounds kind of hot.
I want to go on an adventure, right? And that's Jesus fucking Christ. So that's one of the things I think is really cool when you have these biblical the angels or whatever you want to call them, these type of spirits or entities put in films, because a lot of times they're out of place. They're not in their element. So they're like, well, I don't know how to operate in this physical heavy
the physical realm.
Yeah, So oops, that's one thing I find really cool about these characters. So that was but I mentioned Constantine. What about you, Chris?
I'm going to mention one of your favorite ones, since we were already talking about Gabriel, The Prophecy.
Okay, so, all right, let's go. Because this is the reason we're here tonight, frankly.
I mean, this was a long running series. There were a lot of these movies, five. But really, I think 1 through 3 were probably the best ones. Yeah. With 1 being the best because it had Christopher Walken. Christopher
Walken was in all 3 of them.
Was he?
He was in all 3 of them. But the first one had Christopher Walken and Virginia Madsen.
And Elias Koteas, and Eric Stoltz, and Viggo Mortensen, and Amanda Plummer. Yep. I mean, Adam Goldberg was in this thing. Yep. This was like It
was jammed. Yeah. Viggo played Lucifer.
Yep.
Now, okay, you do your thing. I'm going to shut the fuck up for a minute because
I know you love these movies, so I'm actually going to kind of give the floor to you on this. I just remember seeing this the first time when I was a kid. I mean, God, this came out in what? 95.
The original one was 95.
Just out of high school when I saw this the first time. I rented it on videotape. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's another very dark rendition about the battle between angels.
This is dark. Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy. Like, now that we're talking about this more, there's a lot of movies about angels doing battle with each other.
Being dicks.
Yeah.
Right?
Is it because they're power hungry? Or is it just because they have that much power that they can just do whatever the fuck they want?
You can't really have that conversation without getting into religion and the Bible and stories like that.
Right.
Of why these beings rebel. You'd think like, dude, we got it made. We're chilling. We got a boss we got to report to. But hey,
I got these badass wings.
Yeah, things are chill. But no, you have these conflicts even in the kingdom of heaven. It seems like with the prophecy, you get to really, and this is the one that really kind of brings home these ideas I'm talking about, where these beings, angels, they're bound by certain rules, right? And I thought the prophecy, especially the first 3, really illustrated some of these more quirky type things. First thing I'll point out is that all of the angels that are represented in the prophecy 1 through 3, and we can mention 4 and 5 too, they all have these goofy traits. Number 1, they can't drive. None of them can drive.
That's right.
And it's a long-running joke through those 3 films.
Because they can't take control of physical matter, correct?
Correct. Well, yeah, but that's probably the background reason, but they don't really explain that. They just go, here, get in the car. They'll take over somebody. Here, get in the car and drive me. And they're like, why don't you drive? You're a fucking angel. They're like, can't drive. It's never really explained why, but it's just this funny thing, right? But they can do things like, take over bodies. They can do all this other cool shit, but they can't drive. One of the funnier scenes, I think, was the first prophecy. No, it may have been, oh man, my brain's, it may be part 2. They're trying to track, Gabriel, Christopher Walken, is trying to track somebody down, and he's at a laundromat with a girl he took over who committed suicide. I
think that's part 2.
Is it part? It's part 2. Yeah. Sure. Part of their thing is they can take over a body if it's not fully dead. Like that young girl that he took over, she committed suicide with her boyfriend, and he brought her back to life because she wasn't completely dead just yet. Her soul was leaving, but he was able to grab her soul and keep it there and more or less make her his slave. So he takes her into this laundromat trying to track down somebody with a laundry ticket, and he's like, here, push that thing there, that box. Right. She's like, wait, you want me to help you out because you don't know DOS? And goofy, just do it, So there's all these goofy little things, and Christopher Walken, master. I mean, if there was anybody who should have played Gabriel, this massive character, it was one of the roles of his life, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people will disagree with that. I think a lot of people consider the prophecy, those 3 films, some of his weaker films he was. Yeah,
but this is kind of like his blow up era when he was kind of getting to be really big. Like he had been around for a while, but then he kind of True Romance. You know, he had these kind of big. Yeah. Character roles at that point. Yeah. So
the story is beautiful because it is a continuing story for the first 3. Part 4, which is the Prophecy Uprising, and Part 5, which is the Prophecy Forsaken.
Doesn't every series have like a number for Uprising?
Yeah, what the fuck, right? Those were really, they were separated. They more or less just grabbed the franchise to use the name, not related at all to the the original narrative they had through the first 3 films.
Right.
We get Jennifer Beals was in Part 2. And I really have to say it's a tough call for me on those first 3.
Yeah.
I love all them.
Which one was Danzig in?
That was in Part
3?
2.
2?
Part 2, because Daniel impregnated Jennifer Beal.
I remember just watching that movie being like, man, he's little. Like I remember watching that movie being like, I thought Danzig was like a big dude.
Well,
he's petite.
Now there's a story about
petite.
that too with Glenn Danzig. The story went that I read was he came on set to play Samael. That was the angel he played.
Yeah.
And he's only in the film for about 10 seconds?
Yeah, barely
He's
at all.
fighting with Daniel going, hey, Daniel, how are you? And they're punching each other. And he's like, good to see you. Been a while, right?
Sing Mother for me right now. It's not my only song.
I guess the story went that Glenn Danzig was being such a dick on the set.
He is a dick.
There was a bunch of other footage, I guess, or there was other things planned with him. He was going to have, Samael was going to have a larger role in that film. But the director, I forgot the director's name, you could probably look it up. He just got so fed up with Danzig, he said, fuck you, get out of here.
Yeah, we're done with
We're done with you. So you only get to see Glenn Danzig for literally like 10 seconds in that movie. He gets killed.
People were excited about it, though.
Yeah. So, there's other elements, in the prophecy, like how you killed an angel, you had to rip their heart out. That was the only way to kill an angel. You had to get their heart, right?
Or you had to rip the watch out of Christopher Walken's ass.
Jesus Christ. He hit it in his ass.
It's in my ass.
7 long years he had this hunk of metal up his ass. So
He's an angel.
He's an angel. Yeah. No, I think Christopher Walken was just so incredible in this movie, playing Gabriel. I thought that was just, and I can watch that series just over and over again. It's just so fucking good, dude. And we mentioned I'm sorry. I'm just you said it. I'm gonna keep going.
I know. I'm gonna we should give the floor to Amber now, though.
We will.
No, let's go have it.
No.
Well, one more thing. I love Vigo playing Lucifer in the original. And
this was before he was big.
Yeah.
Too.
Some of those scenes that he jumps into, ooh, man. All those years you thought the boogeyman was under your bed and it was me, But at the end where he's like, he rips out Gabriel's heart. He kills Gabriel. And he's just kind of sitting there licking the heart like, I can love you more than Jesus. Like all this fucked up shit, and that's just him, It's a disturbing bit of cinema.
Yeah.
This is dark shit, like we said. The Prophecy is a dark series when it comes to, and it's all about. It's based on angels. It's based on the war in heaven. So if you're looking for movies like to dive into from this type of stuff, this right here, these 3 flicks are the shit, man. Go for it.
Sweet,
Amber.
Well, you already mentioned it, but the last one I watched was Meet Joe Black, and I've seen it.
Well,
before.
go on it because I haven't seen it in a long time.
Well, I watched it before. It's kind of one of my top favorite movies. It's really pretty, and the soundtrack's really good too. But it's just Brad Pitt. He plays the angel of death, and jumps into a body, and he comes to collect Anthony Hopkins, and says, "Look, I'm going to give you a week, but you're going to bring me around and let me be your buddy." And he gets really obsessed with peanut butter.
Yeah.
And food. It's hilarious watching him eat, because that is one of the best things about being alive is eating.
Yes.
So watching him eat peanut butter for the first time, or cookies, anything like that. And then it's just a nice movie, but it's sad because, Anthony's on his way out. His family doesn't know it. And then Death is literally falling in love with his daughter. So it's such an interesting.
That's crazy.
It's a complicated story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a 3-hour movie. It's a long one.
I've not seen this since it's come out.
Yeah, because it was like 1990.
Yeah. It's an old flick.
Yeah,
it's
something.
Wait.
It's late 90s.
I got it right here. Where the hell's it at?
It is weird when you
maybe I don't
think back on some of these actors. Like Brad Pitt's been an actor for that long.
Yeah,
yeah, he's got a baby face.
You see Anthony Hopkins, how young he looks in that movie too. And I mean Anthony. I watched. I haven't watched it in a really long time, but I sat down when she was watching it tonight after I got home from work. And I just watched a couple of scenes, just how goddamn good Anthony Hopkins is. Just watching that guy perform, man. I could just sit there and watch him just talk. He's just that good.
Yeah.
So yeah, Meet Joe Black's a really cool flick. I want to throw this one in.
Do it.
And this is one I'm actually embarrassed to say I had not seen until 2 nights ago. I've been avoiding it just because I don't know. I was just avoiding it. I don't know. I was hesitant to watch it, and that's Noah. Darren Aronofsky's Noah.
Oh.
Right?
I didn't watch it, so I can't comment. He was watching it in his bedroom.
Yeah. I know, right? And that's Darren Aronofsky, who I adore, but that's the one film of his I've never seen. I happened to get a cheap copy of it, so it's been sitting on my shelf for months. And I found, like, well, I did some reading on this. I'm like, okay, this may work with what we're talking about this week. Obviously, this is the story of Noah and the ark and stuff like that. But there's there's a lot of liberties taken from the original story.
There had to be.
No, there had to be.
There had to be.
It's such a fantastic story of how, if there's any story from the Bible that people retain or they know about, even if they're not really,
It's Noah's Ark.
It's Noah's Ark, right? So there was a lot that was taken liberties for, such as the Watchers, which are the angelic creatures or characters in Noah. And their story, they tell their story briefly in the film, like, we came down to help humans.
Basically fallen angels that came down to earth to help the humans get away from God's wrath in the great flood. Yeah, they were going to help him build the boat.
The story before that, the reason they became what they were, these rock monsters, basically, they came down because they wanted to help humanity. But God punished them for falling from heaven, and that's why when they hit the planet, when they land on the planet, he basically encased their angelic light in rock. So you see them; they looked really cool. They had like little lights for eyes, but they were but they were big, strong creatures too. And they became, once Noah convinced them, like, look, this is what's happening here. Can you help me? They're like, yeah, this guy he's one with God. And that was their whole thing. Like, he is talking to God. They were shut off from God's light and presence. So they were like, well, this is our way home. Basically, let's help Noah out.
Then we can get back to heaven.
Yeah, which, it's cool. At the end, you see all this really neat stuff happen. But there were the Watchers. I thought that was a really interesting take. Like, this isn't your typical classic, like, creature with wings walking around all stoic and shit. You had these...
They were helpers.
Transformer-looking, like, type things walking around.
They were really cool, though. Yeah. And this was another one that the Bible thumpers... Sorry, I don't mean to be insulting.
Yeah.
But the Bible thumpers got really upset about this movie because they thought it changed the story too much. It wasn't a true telling. And I'm going, wait a second.
Well, we don't even know what the truth is to begin with.
Exactly. You didn't know what the truth was to begin with. And the movie is actually, it's a beautiful looking film. The effects are amazing in this movie. Cool. And my thoughts were, like, if I were a church person, I would be ecstatic that somebody creative took a story that I loved and transposed it to film, even if you had to take some liberties with something you don't even know if it really happened, because it didn't. I think Aronofsky did some really, really cool thires with the story, like adding the Watchers.
Well, that was, that's out of his wheelhouse too.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of why I really hadn't saw it until this week. I'm just used to the visceral Aronofsky, just, real personal type stories that are told. And I wasn't ready for something as big as a subject like Noah's Ark.
Well, it's very similar to what he did with Mother, because Mother is basically a retelling of the Bible.
Yeah.
It's just very
Didn't
small.
like it very much. Yeah.
I adore that movie.
I did not know that it was a retelling of the Bible.
Yeah.
So if I got that background story and rewatched it again, it could be interesting. Because otherwise, I was like, "What the hell is going on?"
I'm maybe a little harsh.
Basically, she's Mother Earth.
Yeah,
he's like Adam. It's kind of like an Adam and Eve thing. And what's his name?
Javier Bardem.
No, Ed Harris.
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris. The broken rib thing.
Yeah.
Adam's rib.
Adam's rib. Yeah.
And I forget who the sons are. Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
The battle between Cain and Abel.
Cain and Abel.
That's the two
Okay,
sons.
yeah, I never would have gotten that watch.
So basically, it's the revolution of the earth. From the beginning, everything's beautiful, and everything devolves into Armageddon at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's Mother.
I should see it again.
I can get it from the library.
We saw that in the theater. We should sit down and watch that again. I didn't leave there, and again, maybe I'm being probably a bit closed-minded because I expect a certain thing from Aronofsky and that's it, right? And it usually involves me wanting to go out and slit my wrists because that's just what I'm used to seeing from him.
I think he's kind of decided to change it up with every movie now.
Yeah, good for him.
But
yeah, Noah was cool. It was obviously, very effect-driven movie. And and you did mention how people would kind of get angry about, the liberties taken in the story. And I'm fair on both sides with that. I could kind of understand how if you're a very religious person, how you may get a little, you're allowed to have an opinion about that, right? Now, if you're going out and protesting and threatening to kill somebody over there, you got a fucking problem.
Yeah, but people got very, very angry about this. But then what I did hear from some people is that when they were religious people that did go see it, some were actually happy with it. So I think it was kind of a split.
Yeah, it's just a matter of interpretation. It's just what people think. But I liked it. I thought it was a cool flick. I'm glad I finally watched it. I'm kind of embarrassed I hadn't seen it before. But yeah, it's a beautiful looking movie. The effects, nothing really looks really good. It's just everything,
because he didn't overdo it.
No. I think ending where you just see it sitting, the arc broken in half, sitting on the hill. I thought that was, that's the idea. You've seen so many pictures over the years of just where the hell's this thing at? We think it's here, and you just see this big
ginormous gothic mass.
Yeah, just sitting there. I thought that was just super cool.
Yeah.
There's a guy that actually built an ark and spent $5 million on it, and his goal is to just drive it to Israel. Right now, it's happening right now.
That guy's a freak.
It's really
got
happening.
Too much damn money.
I know exactly who you're talking about too. Yeah,
it's real.
The guy that did the religious experience thing, whatever, down south, and basically got blown
fucking
up for
fail,
it.
and then they fail.
Yeah. So one I'm going to mention is going to be a very obvious one from 1998. It is a semi reimagining of Wim Wenders' Wings of Desire, City of Angels. With Nicolas Cage.
I forgot about that one.
It's actually a very beautiful film. It's kind of sad, too. It's very 90s.
Yeah.
And we got that awesome song from the Goo Goo Dolls.
Is that Meg Ryan in that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This was kind of like her peak. She kind of fizzled out a couple years after this, after she kind of did a lot of weird things to her physicality.
She looks completely different.
Yeah, she doesn't look like the same person. But this movie was really huge. A lot of people, this movie was out for a while and it made a lot of money.
You're right. I forgot about that Goo Goo Dolls song because that
was huge. It was huge.
Oh, they were like, we can't write again. Like that guy had serious, creative blocks for a long time after that.
Because you reach that peak and you're like, oh, I just wrote the perfect pop song for the masses. But this was Nicolas Cage not really being too Nicolas Cage, and he really led this movie very, very well. Very good dramatic film.
I had never seen this movie, and I'm kind of embarrassed of that too. But
I saw it so long
It's just
ago.
one of those ones again where I was like, I can't. No, I'm not doing this.
I actually would say this is a must-see from the 90s because it kind of captures that era. It's a little time capsule.
Yeah.
But one of the other stars in this movie was Dennis Franz.
What was he in?
NYPD Blue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they had Andre Braugher was in it too. This was like a really, really good cast. Again, it was a reimagining of Wings of Desire, which was a black and white foreign film about a fallen angel or an angel coming down and helping out.
Yeah, that was and that was from 1987. Was Wings of Desire?
Yeah,
I have that on my list here of stuff that I should watch.
Yeah, I've got the Criterion of that, but yeah, I think City of Angels. I really think it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a good, solid flick, and it's one that kind of mixes some of the biblical themes in there, but Nicolas Cage is so just good.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. This was before he went off the deep end. So
Was he the angel in the movie?
yes,
Okay.
he was the angel in the movie. Basically, it starts in the hospital and somebody spots him, and then everything kind of evolves out of that. So,
how about you, Amber?
That's all I had.
Oh, Jesus,
Oh,
man. You
I
are
know.
freaking ridiculous.
I know. I started watching something.
What the hell
from,
did we
like,
bring you in here for if you were just going to fall on your face?
Oh my God! I tried.
wrong with you?
I tried.
The hell's
this
wrong
was
with
like
you?
last minute. How many? I can't. I got to work, and then I'm trying to power through a ton of movies. I thought about that one show, Touched by an Angel, but that was a whole TV series.
that doesn't matter.
So I was like, I can't even start that.
It's media.
throwing that
But
out
about
that was
angels.
a big deal. Like when it was on.
There was a series called Lucifer recently that just got canceled.
Yeah, that was. Everyone tells me to watch that.
I know, and I'm like, this looks interesting.
Yeah.
Like Michael Imperioli plays like Uriel, from The Sopranos.
Yeah.
He plays an angel. I'm like, there's some pretty cool actors in this flick. They did 3 seasons, and literally, like recently, it just got canceled. So I'd like to see that. I could probably try to binge watch that sometime, but if I get time. Just talking about series.
Let's talk about a huge one.
Okay.
Because this movie was massive. Do you know what I'm going to say? 1990. Demi Moore.
Oh, Ghost.
Ghost.
Yeah. Well, again,
Was that
but
an
that's
angel
a dead
movie?
guy. It's another dead guy movie.
Yeah,
I
but
thought,
he's kind of like a...
He has to earn his wings or something, I thought.
Yeah, he's like watching over her like a guardian angel.
Yeah.
Like he is a ghost. He can affect things physically.
Yeah.
But it's kind of an angel movie, I would think.
Well,
No?
then, okay, if you want to throw that out there, then I want to throw out The Seventh Sign.
Oh, absolutely.
Demi Moore again.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't even think about that, but that's another one where but that's Jesus Christ, though. That character,
right.
the one that's breaking the seals, I thought that was the angel of death.
That was the movie that made me decide to never have children.
That's a crazy flick. That movie, I thought that was the angel of death going around cracking those seals, right? And then all hell's breaking loose. But he was actually Jesus Christ. But, but he kind of had an angelic presence also, just like you're talking about with Ghost. It's an interesting take. Do you think that really was an angel, though, or you think it was just, you think it's
I think he was a ghost, but I think he was her angel.
It's kind of similar to the Dreyfus situation in all ways. Like it's the same kind of, lover dies, looks over. Although Dreyfus didn't really have any superpowers, like the cat noticed him. That was about it. Well, he could telepathically talk to people.
Right.
And homeless people. He was good with homeless people.
Okay.
You got one?
I got a couple more.
Well, first let
ahead.
me mention, wasn't a very, very good movie, so I won't have much to say about it, but it's got Paul Bettany in it, and Dennis Quaid, and Charles S. Dutton, and Lucas Black.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And Tyrese Gibson.
Yeah, I know
so this
what you
was actually a pretty good cast.
2010.
Yeah.
Legion? Yeah, Legion.
Stupid fucking movie.
We were so excited about this movie.
I thought it looked so cool.
Yeah, and at the time I was watching The Prophecy over and over again,
and
too.
I liked Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is gonna be badass. And we both walked out of that
We
theater
we saw it in the theater, yeah.
so disappointed.
We were kind of I thought it was a cool film, but I thought it was gonna be a much bigger story the way they portrayed it in the trailers. But really it was all them just sitting in a freaking restaurant arguing about how they're gonna get through all the zombies and shit. You know what I mean?
Right. And he is an archangel, correct? And he helps defend them.
Yeah.
Paul Bettany's character.
Yeah.
Like this movie looked like it was going to be huge.
Yeah, massive. The way they played it out was like the biggest thing all summer.
And then the construct was very just small.
Yeah.
Very, very small. So
it was cool. I mean, like I said, the trailer really was deceiving with that movie. And I thought it was going to be a much bigger idea than, as you said, in the theater. When you actually watch the movie, I won't go back to it probably, but I was really excited to see that come out. One that I watched over the weekend that I had not seen was from 2007, and it was called Gabriel. And that was a very much independent type film. Very cult. It's a cult film now, more or less. Think about if you haven't seen. Have you seen Gabriel? I don't think you've seen Gabriel, Chris.
I have not seen Gabriel. No.
Very much action. It's another one of them action type films, like Legion and like what did I mention? Constantine earlier too. Gabriel. Some of the acting is a bit flimsy, and it's an independent film, as I said. But it's very. I'm trying to describe how it looks. It's got a very unique look to it for what what the story is. The story itself, like the concept, is very cool. Like basically, the world has gone to shit, much like Sodom and Gomorrah, those or the story of Noah's Ark and stuff like that, where things are just so fucked up. We just need to kill it with fire and start over, more or less. But you have all these angels, opposing forces, Lucifer's armies and the armies of God, fighting back and forth on Earth, trying to help the humans out. And there's just a lot of really interesting stuff within that concept that really makes it a cool story. It looks very comic book like, I guess.
Yeah,
it's very dark, a lot of contrast in it, but it's a fun movie. I mean, it's good for a watch on this subject. Very action oriented with a bit of horror mixed in there too. I would check out Gabriel, and yeah, it's a freaking 12-year-old movie now too. But it's a cult classic in a lot of circles I was reading on, and I enjoyed it. It was fun to watch.
Some of them really do stand the test of time,
yeah,
just because the topic kind of transcends all the genres.
Yeah, totally. Some of the ones, other mentions here that I know I haven't seen myself. Date with an Angel. Ooh, The Heavenly Kid.
Oh,
remember The Heavenly Kid?
Yes.
I did see that.
Yes, one. Yep.
That was a cool flick. Now, that's kind of a different, that's another one of those ones that kind of floats in that ghost, seventh sign thing we were talking about, where the kid, the main character, he's more or less trying to protect his son. And he's not, I guess he's a guardian. He would be considered a guardian angel in that
he
case.
was.
And I haven't seen that movie in many years.
I haven't seen it in 30 years.
Yeah,
probably.
it's an old flick now. But it was more of a lighthearted type film. Like he gets his son laid and stuff. He's sitting there laughing and shit. It's like, oh my God, this is crazy. But it was, for the time, it's very 80s. It was very 80s. What else we have? Heaven Can Wait. A Life Less Ordinary. That's one that I really need to see.
Okay, I own that. And it's in the basement, and I totally forgot that was an angel movie.
I totally forgot
with Holly Hunter, who was
in another angel
Always.
Movie.
Yeah, totally forgot about that.
The Preacher's Wife, another one. I haven't seen that one either.
Honestly, I want to talk about It's a Wonderful Life a little bit more.
Go,
because we kind of we floated on that one. We just threw that one out there. I think this is one of the best movies ever made. Again, it's one of those movies that. I started watching this movie every Christmas with my parents when I was about 4 years old.
Yeah, a lot of people did that.
And every Christmas Eve, we go to my grandparents and then come home and flip on whatever cable station that It's a Wonderful Life was on.
Yeah.
But I really think this movie gets, it sounds weird, but gets the pulse of being an angel. Like how he was watching over him and directing him and showing him your future could be this, if you don't change your ways and be a good person, then
I think he showed him that he was a good person.
Right.
Look at this. This town looks like Biff Tannen took it over. Since you left, it's all horrible and everything.
Yeah.
Look at the loss that's here because you're not here because you wanted to, jump into the river.
The other thing that I always notice about It's a Wonderful Life is how I was saying, Jimmy Stewart could be the everyman in any decade.
Mm-hmm.
Even the visuals in It's a Wonderful Life are really, really cool. Mm-hmm. And at times it almost feels like you're watching an old black and white episode of The Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
But it's a movie. I love this movie.
Yeah.
Even though we don't watch it every year now, we end up watching Elf instead. I would like to turn my kids away to we should watch this because it's a more wholesome story and there's a real point to it.
Yeah.
This guy was willing to sacrifice everything for his family and, somehow pulls through it to, have this experience with an angel.
Well, and it's that story that exists to this day too, where you work so hard to be the good person, do the right thing, always helping people, and then you get shit on.
Yeah.
And then somehow at the end, you're the one that's going to go bankrupt or you're losing everything. And then that's when he, decides, oh, it's not worth living. And then God sends an angel. And so what really tripped me out was when this movie first started, because like I said, I hadn't seen it ever. I had just totally is irrelevant to probably people listening, but I had just finished the Bob Lazar documentary, which is about UFOs. So when I started this movie, it starts out with space and these two galaxies blinking and talking to each other. And the galaxies are like God and an angel.
Oh, yeah.
I think to show the magnitude of, what these beings are. And then this tiny little speck shows up.
Yep.
And that's Clarence. And he's going to go down and earn his wings. And so it was kind of funny every time they cut to those two galaxies just blinking and talking.
And it is funny, too, that, Clarence shows up on Earth. He doesn't have his wings yet, and he's, like, in his 70s.
Yeah.
He's not, like, some youthful, spry-looking man. He's, like, this old dude that looks like he's been drinking hard his whole life, and, I'm here to save this guy. Mm-hmm. And I just think that whole message behind that movie just is perfect, especially with Christmas.
Yeah.
There was even some shocking things. Like there was one line that James Stewart uses when he comes into the house and he's really frustrated. Couldn't find the money. His wife is, his kids playing the piano. It's a whole Christmas Eve perfect family situation. But he looks around and says, "Why did we have all these kids?" Like, whoa. That was like a harsh line for like a movie then. Like, wow, that actually like made me stop. Like, oh.
You're kind of breaking up the wholesome family dynamic by saying that.
Yeah.
Well, who says that about their family?
I've said this a couple times to Alicia, and she even gets mad at me about this. I'll be like, if I just had a time machine. When the kids are going crazy, all loud and shit, I'm like, just had a time machine. She's like, don't say that. I'm like, no, it's not that I want them to go away. I just want to go away for a couple hours and then come back. I want to go to a party in 1992.
Oh God.
Drink some beer and then come back and everybody's happy.
Yeah.
I don't want to eliminate anything. I just want to give me a time machine.
Let's take a break.
Give me some angel wings.
Angel wings.
I'll fly around the earth a couple times, like in the voyage home.
Yeah.
And I'll go back in time. Yeah.
No, it's an interesting subject, I think. I just love the magnitude that these characters bring to a movie, and the levity you see, and that's what we mentioned. Some of the films we mentioned, like Dogma, of course, and The Prophecy, especially. You have these, characters with a lot of gravity behind them, like their reputation precedes them, and you see them put in real life situations. And I just love that juxtaposition. I love to see stuff like that done with movies. You like to see, like I said before, you're all knowing, you're all powerful, but somehow you can't drive. These are these great little things I think that are super cool. So yeah, man, what else is there to talk about with this thing? We beat the shit out of this subject.
Angel Heart is on a lot of lists.
Yeah. I never saw it.
Oh, dude, this is a down and dirty movie.
Really?
This is the reason that Lisa Bonet left The Cosby Show. Because
I remember that, yeah.
There are some very explicit sex scenes in this movie. But yeah, Mickey Rourke is Henry Angel. Is it Henry?
Mickey Rourke.
Harry Angel.
Harry, oh.
Yeah.
Harry.
And De Niro plays the devil, Louis Cypher. What a play on words.
Yummy.
But yeah, if you've never seen Angel Heart, I definitely suggest seeing that movie.
I don't think I've ever seen that. No.
It's pretty hard, pretty dark, pretty gritty.
Cool.
Pretty gritty.
Pretty gritty.
We got any more?
I'm done, dude.
All right, I'm done too. I'm cashed.
This is a cool subject, though. It was difficult. This is to try to understand. Like I said, the rules here, it's very loose, it's very fluid. Like, because some of these films were about angels.
Yeah.
And some of these films just had these elements, these angelic elements in them, or they were background characters, like we said, making the story and the narrative go along. So yeah, if you haven't seen a lot of these films, I highly recommend all of them. They're really great.
Yes.
The Prophecy, man, that's what got me on this journey of these type of films. Really was The Prophecy. And I think those movies really drive that home. All them weird rules that these things are bound by, or these characters are bound by. And it's just a lot of fun to watch that stuff. So yeah, check them out.
I love movies. It doesn't matter what they're about.
I fucking hate movies.
Yeah, I can tell.
I just despise them.
You son of a bitch.
And I hate you too.
I know.
I hate you. Let's go. I'm tired.
All right.
Frankie, I'm tired. I'm hangry.
Thanks for joining us, Amber.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Amber.
And listen to their show, Ghostly Talk, too. We forgot to mention that.
We should have an Angels show for Ghostly Talk.
Yeah.
I thought about doing that. We talked about them before in the past, like in the old days of it.
Right.
It'd be fun to revisit that subject, seeing that I've been kind of getting interested in it again. So maybe we'll do that. But yeah, ghostlytalk.com. Yeah, Amber's on that show.
Yep.
Our show over there on the other side of town.
The other side.
And now she's got to experience the awe and beauty of the Real Crime Studio.
Yeah.
Which is far nicer than our little table.
Yeah, we got to get these kind of chairs. These are comfy. This has to happen.
I'll show you where to get them, yo.
Yeah, we have to invest some money.
This has to happen.
All right. So this is episode 103. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week. We don't know what we're doing quite yet, but
we'll
let you know. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye later, Thea.
Visit us at www.themoviesleuth.com and find The Movie Sleuth on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and iTunes.